Hey everyone. Today I wanted to dive a little deeper into talking about the Richiesto bike. And actually, the main reason why I'm doing this video is because, well, in one of my previous clips someone asked me if I could, just give kind of a quick overview, like just a simple breakdown of the specs and maybe touch on some of the upgrades I've done personally. Alright, let's start by talking about what the manufacturer claims and what you actually get straight out of the box. So this particular bike, it has 29-inch wheels and comes with a 21-inch frame. According to the official documentation, like the tech specs from the manufacturer, you should get about 40 kilometers of range on a single battery charge. Charging time usually takes roughly about 4 hours. Gear-wise, you're looking at 7 speeds. You've got a single chainring at the front, and then at the rear there's a 7-speed cassette. Now, regarding the motor, it's rated at 250 watts. And, if I just zoom in a bit here and, focus carefully, you can actually see it pretty clearly. It's marked as a 36-volt, 250-watt motor, specifically set up for these bigger 29-inch wheels. Moving on to materials, the frame itself is aluminum. Pretty much standard stuff nowadays. And the handlebar as well as the stem that comes standard, these are also aluminum. The stock stem length is around 70 millimeters or so. One cool detail I liked right from the start. Both the bottom bracket and the hubs on the front and rear wheels are built with sealed industrial bearings. And, honestly, that's quite nice because it helps with durability, especially if you're riding in tougher conditions or bad weather. So, what else can I mention here? The shifters. Yeah, it's equipped with Shimano Texas 35-7R shifters. Reliable components overall. Now, out of the box, the tires were originally pretty wide. They were 29 inches by 3 inches. And that's great if you're looking for stability or riding off-road, but personally, I found them a bit too wide for daily riding or commuting. So, yeah, I decided to change them out, and here's what I did. Originally, as I mentioned, the tires were 29 by 3 inches. I replaced those with narrower 29 by 2.1 inch tires, which, honestly, felt a lot better in terms of handling and maneuverability. And this small change made the bike lighter, quicker, and just a bit more agile, especially if you're mostly riding around town or smoother trails. And, yeah, I think those are probably the main points about the stock setup and initial modifications that I made.
The reason I ended up making this change, honestly, has everything to do with the stock fenders. Yeah, I really wasn't a fan of the original ones. They were these short, sporty type fenders, and, basically, they didn't fully cover the wheels. So, if I had kept those wider 3-inch tires, well, every bit of mud and dirt would have just flown right up at me. And yeah, I definitely wasn't looking forward to that. The thing is, finding full-sized fenders wide enough to properly fit 3-inch tires turned out to be almost impossible. So, I decided, okay, let's just go with narrower tires instead. And, honestly, I'm pretty sure switching to narrower tires improved the bike's energy efficiency as well.
Alright, so, moving on. The, next upgrade I want to talk about. This is the crankset and chainring. And, honestly, this didn't exactly go smoothly. See, when I tried taking off the original crankset to install this, chain guard right here, I completely stripped the threads. Totally ruined them. Yeah, not my finest moment. Anyway, since there was no way to fix that, I had to use a bearing puller to get the damaged cranks off. Long story short, those old cranks ended up in the trash. So, what did I replace them with? I installed a new crankset from a company called Maroka. It's got a 38-tooth chainring, CNC machined, at least that's what the manufacturer says. It weighs around 510 grams, pretty decent and actually quite lightweight, I'd say. When I first got it in my hands, I actually noticed immediately how much lighter it was compared to the stock crankset, which was pretty surprising. Pedals-wise, I stuck with the stock ones, just swapped them over to the new crankset. Didn't see a real reason to replace them yet, as they're still doing fine. And yeah, all this, fun, happened because of this little chain guard here. Why bother, you ask? Well, since I planned on using the bike pretty intensively, and actually, yeah, I ride it every single day to work, I just got tired of my pants always getting dirty from the chain grease. Even with basic chainring protection, grease was still somehow getting everywhere. Super annoying, especially when you're heading into work meetings and stuff. Next, let's talk fenders. Nothing fancy, really. They're just basic plastic ones I found online, designed for 29-inch wheels. Honestly, can't remember the brand. I just picked up whatever looked decent on a local marketplace. Easy enough to find something similar, though. Then, the saddle. I bought it at a local market. Cost me about 4,000 tenge. Honestly, nothing special, but it's way more comfortable than the stock saddle. I'll go through all the prices specifically in just a second. Also, installed a mirror. Riding on roads, it's really handy. Gotta see who's overtaking, especially from the left. The bike computer and electronics, though, I left those stock. Basic computer, nothing complicated. 5 assist levels. Level 0 just counts distance, level 5 helps you accelerate up to around 25 kilometers per hour. Usually, I stick with level 3. It comfortably helps you maintain about 20 kilometers per hour. It feels like the sweet spot for everyday commuting, at least for me. Phone holder? Grabbed it off AliExpress, or maybe some marketplace, honestly don't even remember exactly. I mostly use it now as a sort of dashcam, just pop my phone in there and record footage during rides. It's actually pretty convenient because it's stable enough to get decent video, even on rougher roads. Next, the LED headlight. It lasts about a full day, no issues there. Really bright beam, actually. One tip, make sure you aim it slightly downward so you don't blind pedestrians or drivers. Trust me, it's surprisingly powerful. Learned that the hard way when a driver flashed his lights at me one evening. And, a simple bell. Yeah, nothing fancy here, but turns out riding without one became kinda tricky. Found out the hard way, modern bells with melodies? Pedestrians just completely ignore them. Learned that myself when some kids almost knocked me over on bikes. So yeah, standard bell it is. Trust me, people react much better to a simple, clear ringing sound. The bag, got it at a local market. It's pretty spacious, fits everything I need for my commute, wallet, keys, spare batteries, all that stuff. Alright, let's quickly go through the costs for all these upgrades. The bag was about 6,000 tenge, roughly, like 12 bucks. I'll give prices in both tenge and dollars, probably easier that way. The crankset cost me about 10,500 tenge, around $20. Fenders were about 15 bucks. The saddle, as mentioned earlier, about 4,000 tenge or around $8. The mirror, super cheap, about 500 tenge, roughly $1. The LED headlight and phone mount together cost about $10 total. Tires and tubes were around 25 bucks for the pair. And finally, the chain guard was 10,000 tenge, approximately $20. So, yeah, these are pretty much all the upgrades I've done so far. Oh, right, one more quick thing about brakes. I've seen reviews saying the brakes aren't that great, but honestly, if you adjust them properly, they're perfectly fine. At first, yeah, mine were rubbing and sticking a bit. But turns out there are 2 adjustment screws. One adjusts the movable brake pad, just loosen it a bit and tweak the cable tension. The other screw adjusts the fixed pad. Important tip, always spin the wheel after adjusting, just to check it's not rubbing. And don't over-tighten, it's crucial. Riding without well-adjusted brakes, obviously, can be dangerous. These are basic mechanical, cable-actuated brakes. I've seen folks upgrading to hydraulics, but personally, I haven't gone there yet, though maybe in the future I'll give that a try. About range, I recently did a test at a stadium. On a full charge, using just throttle mode, no pedaling at all, I got exactly 49 kilometers and 800 meters. The throttle itself is right here. The only downside, honestly, there's no cruise control. You have to constantly press the throttle down. But in assist mode, everything works pretty smoothly. Actually, I mostly stick to assist mode, since holding down that throttle can get pretty tiresome over longer rides. Lastly, about the bottom bracket size. On forums, it's listed as 80 mm wide with a spindle length of 131 mm. Problem is, finding brackets that exact size is basically impossible. Can't find them online or in local shops. So, my next step, I plan to install the biggest bottom bracket that's easily available. I believe that's 73 mm wide with a 127 mm spindle. Gonna test that soon, and I'll cover all this in my next video, along with showing you guys some of the bike-specific tools I had to buy, or even borrowing tools from my car, for doing routine maintenance and small repairs. So, yeah, I think that's about it for today. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. There'll be plenty more interesting tests and videos coming up with this bike. The season here's pretty long, so expect more rides around town, villages, and even countryside adventures. I really hope you guys enjoy that. Alright, everyone, take care, ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!